Hi guys, it's Jessica. For those of you who don't know me, I am 31. I live outside of Seattle, Washington, and I am starting this vlog to document my weight loss journey. In December 2019, I decided that I wanted to make some big changes in my life, and getting rid of a lot of excess weight that I've carried around for years has become important to me. So I have decided to have weight loss surgery, gastric bypass, Roux-en-Y to be specific, and I am not going through my insurance. I know, shock and awe, right? So I want to share my story and what I have gone through and what I will continue to go through as I have the surgery and post-surgery, and the challenges and struggles and victories and successes. So a little bit about my weight background. I grew up extremely thin. My entire childhood I was extremely thin. I was pretty thin into my 20s. I had 2 children and was still pretty thin. And then I had my last 2 children and got a little bit older, a little bit slower, and in total I have probably gained 70 pounds, which I know a lot of people had been overweight, you know, for most of their life, and so they were tired of it. But for me, being thin growing up, I've really started to struggle with my self-esteem, being so thin growing up, and then all of a sudden not being thin. And then y'all, let me share something with you. I am 5'11", for those of you who don't know, so I'm already big, so then to have all this extra weight on top of it, it really has diminished my self-confidence over time, and so I am ready for a change. So December 2019, I went to my first consultation here in Seattle. I live just outside of Seattle, and it went really well. I was super excited, but my BMI is 35, and for anybody who's done any research on weight loss surgery, typically insurances will not pay for the surgery unless you have a coexisting condition, or a comorbidity as they call it. Now, what is that, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. It is something like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea. So after December, I started having all these tests done, right? Lab work, EKGs, sleep apnea study, all this stuff. And guess what? I do not have any comorbidities, which on one hand, I'm like, that's great. I'm much healthier, right? So that's fabulous. But in terms of getting me to my weight loss goal, it was really crushing because my insurance will no longer cover the weight loss surgery that I'd put all my dreams and hopes into, right? So that was a really bitter pill to swallow. Do I gain 30 pounds just to get surgery? Of course not. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm struggling with my weight as it is. So on that note, I decided to see what other options there were. I lived in Indiana for a decade with my husband, and I know cost of living is way cheaper, so I initially thought, well, shoot, maybe I'll go back to Indiana. Maybe the cash sale price there will be a lot cheaper, and I'll go see the family while I'm down there, and everything's gonna be great. I couldn't find any programs that really catered to what I wanted to do, and so I had a discussion with my husband, you know, would we consider going to Mexico and paying out of pocket, because I am a stubborn broad for any of you who have ever met me, and if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. Let me just tell you. So we discussed Mexico, decided that wasn't the best option for us. Just some safety concerns, and the standard of care there is different than the US, and so we just decided that wasn't for us. No judgments to anybody who's been to Mexico, like, good on you for getting healthy and making the best decision for you, but that was not the best decision for me and my family. So we crossed that one out. I started going to all these weight loss websites and review boards and all this stuff, and found Dr. Del Pino's office. Mario Del Pino, D-E-L-P-I-N-O, practices in McAllen, Texas, and it is right on the Mexican border, y'all. Okay, so much so that he actually practices in Mexico and Texas. They had amazing reviews for their clinics and the hospital on all the health grade websites, even Google reviews, things like that. So I also wanted to make sure that my doctor had a strong medical background, so I did some research on where he went to school, medical school at University of Pittsburgh. He has a YouTube channel himself, which talks a lot about weight loss surgeries and is very informative, and does Facebook Live sessions all the time. And so I quickly, without even contacting their office, became extremely comfortable with the thought of going to this man to have this surgery. But of course, when you don't have insurance to cover, cost definitely becomes a concern. So that's what y'all want to know. I know that much. So there's two different options. So they do both the gastric sleeve and gastric bypass. I'll do another video later on why I chose gastric bypass over the sleeve, but I am moving forward with bypass. And cash sale for the sleeve, I think, is around $8,000, and bypass is like $8,500 or something like that. Or if you have a hernia that needs to be repaired, umbilical, hiatal, whatever, or you have a need to have your gallbladder taken out, like if you need it taken out, then you can get what's called a combo price. 2-for-1 special is what I call it. So I do have a small umbilical hernia. I didn't even know I had it until I went to the doctor, for the record. And so the cash price for the sleeve with the hernia repair is $5,500, and bypass is $6,500, I believe. And the reason it's so much cheaper is because they will bill your insurance for the hernia repair or the gallbladder removal, which will take care of some of those hospital fees, anesthesia fees, etc. And then you just have to pay for the weight loss surgery. So I do qualify for that. So just depending on your situation, it may be a little bit more expensive for you if you don't have those conditions, but that's what I'm doing. So I called them, I paid like $100 administrative fee, and then they sent me all these orders, right? Like normally with an insurance, or at least with mine, you have to do months of nutrition counseling and psych evals and all of this stuff. And one of the nice things about being a cash sale patient is that you don't have to do months of this stuff. You have to do it one time. So I did lab work, EKG, a chest x-ray, and then you have to get a medical clearance from your PCP, your primary care provider, just saying that you're healthy enough to withstand surgery. So just a few different appointments. I actually did all of them but one in one day, taking off work, which was really nice, and do all that. Yesterday, I had the consult with the surgeon. Even though he's in Texas, we were able to do that telemedicine, which is super new to me, never done that before. And I was also able to do my psych eval and my nutrition eval telemedicine as well, which you know, is super cool because I'm super busy with work and being a mom and all this stuff, so I didn't have time to go to 50,000 appointments. So, so that was great. I got to ask him all the normal questions you would ask a surgeon about recovery time and going back to work, and what about the travel, because that's very concerning when you're out of state, and, you know, does that price cover everything? Just anything I wanted to know, he was able to address. I'll be going down to Texas for about 4 days in total. I'll check into the hospital the day before, like you get registered with admitting at the hospital the day before the surgery. Then you have the surgery. The cost includes 1 to 2 days in the hospital after the surgery. So just depending, he said most patients are able to go home next day, but just in case you can't, they don't want to, like, you know, jack up the price because you have to stay an extra day. So it includes the 2 days. And then after that, I can fly back home, start driving 4 days later. And then I have decided I will follow up. I'll do follow-up care here. So the bariatric office that I was going to originally have the surgery through, I will use for follow-up visits. So yeah, I think that is enough for the first video. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm really excited. I should be getting my surgery date scheduled next week. The coronavirus kind of put a damper on all scheduling for a little bit, so they're starting to open up in Texas. They didn't have quite the volume of coronavirus that Seattle did, that's for sure. So excited to get that surgery schedule date. I will document the travel and my experience, and hopefully 75 pounds of weight loss at some point. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.